Retirement planning can often feel overwhelming and leave many of us uncertain about the future. But don't worry, there are some simple rules of thumb that can help you to navigate the complexities of financial planning for retirement. And one of these rules is the rule of 375. So in this video, I'll try and break down the rule of 375 and its connection to the famous 4% rule. We'll also talk about why it can be a valuable tool in your retirement planning. So the rule of 375 is a smart twist on the well-known 4% rule. To understand its importance, let's see how this builds on the original rule. So back in 1994, American financial planner Bill Bengen analysed decades of stock market and bond returns data. And he discovered that retirees could safely start their retirement by withdrawing 4% of their savings in the first year, then adjust this amount annually for inflation. According to Bengen, this strategy could sustain a retiree for 30 years, which aligns with the average life expectancy for couples retiring in their 60s. Here's the gist of the 4% rule. Imagine you've got £1 million saved for retirement. According to the 4% rule, you can withdraw 4% of that in the first year, which is £40,000. Each year after that, you can adjust this amount to keep up with inflation, ensuring your withdrawals maintain their purchasing power. So let's take Sarah, a retiree who dreams of traveling the world and enjoying her retirement to the fullest. After working through her vision of an ideal retirement, Sarah calculates that she needs $3,500 per month to cover all of her expenses and live comfortably. To engage the investment pot required to sustain this level of spending, Sarah can simply multiply this monthly spending by 375. So 3,500 times 375 equals 1.3 million and change. So using the rule of 375, if Sarah is retiring today and aiming to spend £3,500 per month for the next 30 years, she'd need to have a retirement nest egg of just over £1.3 million. So by following this guideline, Sarah can start to make informed decisions about her saving and investment strategy to reach her retirement goals. So what's the real benefit of 375? Understanding this rule is important because it allows you to start translating your retirement goals into practical financial terms. The rule of thumb takes into account the fact that most people think of their expenses on a monthly basis, and also it incorporates a rough allowance for tax at 20%, as most of us think of our expenses net of taxes. So using this rule of thumb, you can start gauging what you'll need to do, how to make a better plan for your retirement, and ensure that you have financial security you need to enjoy some of your cherished goals, really. So what are some of the common mistakes to avoid? So while the rule of 375 provides a useful estimate, it's essential to recognize its limitations. So one common mistake is to rely solely on this or any other rule of thumb, really, without considering other factors that can impact your retirement, such as financial market fluctuations, additional sources you might have or be entitled to in retirement, such as the state pension, and ever-changing nature of your own retirement. So to avoid this mistake, it's advisable that you work with a certified financial planner. The certification is the only global recognized mark of excellence in financial planning, and it's a degree level qualification, and I certainly don't have it. So one of the things you should really be thinking about is how much have you saved for your retirement and at what rate are you adding to it? Does your current financial trajectory align with the vision for retirement? And if not, knowing the gap is the first step to bridging it. One of the major pitfalls when people start to look at the 375 rule, and this is particularly common in the UK, is that they'll see this number 1.3 million and think, oh, that's completely unachievable. How do I get to 1.3 million pound? But don't forget, we have the state retirement pension here in the UK, which will kick in at 67. So you need to add the state retirement and what you get annually for that, which is £12,000 pretty much, and multiply that by 30 years, plus all the inflation that you're going to get over that period as well. And also, if you have any defined benefit pensions, so most of us who've worked in the public sector, for example, or for government, we've accrued some defined benefit pensions, and to work out the entire value of them, you would need to go to the defined benefit provider and say, how much is this worth as a pot of money? So 375 is a good number to work to, but just remember that when you see that 1.3 million or whatever number it pops out for you, there's a lot behind that. And unless you paid no stamp and you don't have any defined benefits, then working out how much you have in your pot is going to be quite difficult. It's only if you have all of your money in defined contribution benefits that that number pops out easily. So don't be too alarmed when you see people talking about savings pots in the millions, because particularly here in the UK with defined benefits and state pension benefits, factoring them in and taking the total amount of them over the 30-year period you're expecting to draw on them will significantly reduce that.